Update. My parents want to give my sister the earrings my grandma left to me. Original post. This story is so weird. When I, 27 female, was 20 years old, I was in a relationship/friends with benefit situation with a guy, now 40 male. It was messy. We were on and off for almost 5 years. He was always clear he wasn't ready for a relationship, and I was always clear I was madly in love with him. Every time I got tired of the situation and wanted to leave, somehow he'd convince me to stay. Because love is free, we have so much time together, he wasn't ready to commitment. I asked my sister for advice, now 42 female, and she gave me some crappy advice. Like make him compromise, leave stuff at his place, and basically turn him into a boyfriend until it was too late to him to say no. I never managed to do that because I wanted him to love me as much as I loved him, not trap him. The last night I spent at his place, he said he wanted to try something more serious with me. Talked about some dates he planned, etc., only to ghost me forever. It was hard. This was the first person I loved, and he treated me like crap. 6 months passed and my sister came home. We both lived with our parents, saying she wanted to introduce her brand new boyfriend. She had to have a ton of boyfriends, but she said this was the one. It was a dinner only with my parents at our home, so I was excluded and expected to just go out or chill in my room. The day came, and while they were dining, I ordered a pizza. I went downstairs only to find a guy I was with 6 months prior dining with my parents and sister. I was shocked, but paid for my pizza and went to my room again to cry. After dinner was over, I confronted my sister in front of our parents and begged her to not be with him, to be loyal to me, her little sister. There's no way she didn't know who he was. I had showed her pictures of him, his social media, where he worked, and she even knew where he lived. They never met because he didn't want to meet my family and never introduced his. But she knew who he was, and she excluded me from that dinner because she knew. She said they met by chance after we stopped seeing each other. She knew how hard his disappearance was for me. She knew how painful it was to not have even a closure. He just stopped replying, not even blocking me, just left me there wondering after 5 years. She knew that during those 6 months I was still hurting. I know how it was my fault. I was too naive and thought that if I stayed long enough, he would be ready for the relationship I wanted and would learn to love me. Stupid, I know. She defended herself, saying it was a coincidence and the chemistry was there. She loved him, and she wasn't going to lose the love of her life. This stuff only happens once in a lifetime. When I was in my early 20s, I would believe that. However, now, I know that there are 8 billion people in this world. There's no one love of your life. You can find the love of your life multiple times if you look for it. My parents sided with her and said I should get over it since we never have a real relationship. 1.5 years have passed. I've been excluded from multiple family gatherings because he would be around, and my family thinks I will bring negative vibes, since I'm still bitter about everything. I have no feelings for him, but I feel betrayed by my sister and my parents. He is just POS in my eyes now. My sister is now 6 months pregnant. Due to her age, she had been extremely pampered by my parents. She still lives at home, and is going to move with him maybe 2 months after the baby is born. Then they're going to get married. In my culture, it's normal that a woman who gives birth to move back or stay with her mother, so the mom will help with the baby for the first months. A week ago, my sister's friends made a surprise baby shower. I happened to be at home. I tried to talk to them, but I don't know why. Maybe because my sister and I were close before and I'm sad that we're no longer friends. But her friends acted like I wasn't there and only replied to me with yes, no, or silence, as if I was the one that created this mess. Or I was a homewrecker. Or I tried to seduce my sister's man. I was planning to move already. I was saving money, etc. But after that, I left immediately to a friend's house and now in the process to find my own place. 2 days ago, I received a call from my parents asking me to have a talk. I went to their house and they informed me that the diamond earrings my grandma left me will be given to my sister. Those earrings have been in my family for 4 generations. And before my grandma died, she said the earrings will be mine and my sister will have received a gold necklace. Grandma trusted my parents with the earrings. There was no will or anything. She just asked to give it to me when I was mature enough to appreciate/take care of a family heirloom. Now my parents think that since my sister is getting married first and is having grandma's first great-grandchild, my sister should have it. I'm really mad now. They're robbing me of something my grandma left to me. I don't think my parents are evil. I think they were too worried my sister wouldn't marry due to her age. Which again, in my culture, a single woman in her 40s is something her family worry about. And now that she's forming a family, they want to reward her with everything. But I was the closest to my grandma. She made it clear the earrings will be mine, not my sister's. Not the first one to marry or have a child, but mine. After 2 years of being excluded in favor of my sister, I gave the ultimatum to my parents. They give the earrings to me as my grandma intended, or I will cut them from my life forever. Not gonna lie, the idea of cutting my family off is too painful. But I feel they already made me and still makes me so wrong, I don't want them in my life anymore. I feel a little shallow fighting over this, but those are only things my grandma left me. They're not entitled to them. Now for the top advice before reading the update 5 months later. Wow, your parents and sister have some nerve. OP gets ghosted, and 6 months later older sister is sleeping with her ex? Also, sister thereafter is super defensive about her partner? Who wants to bet she was seeing OP's boyfriend before they broke up, and that's why he ghosted her? OP, for Pete's sake, steal the earrings if you can, and then never talk to any of these people again. Your parents and sister are awful, and they will keep harming you if you allow them to stay in your life. Also, me suspects they only want to give your sister those earrings since she asked for them, knowing they're yet another thing of yours she can take. Oh, that's an excellent point. Sister has asked for the earrings because grandma left them to OP. Wicked woman. Get her hands on those earrings and keep them safe. They're yours and should be in your possession by now. Ask nicely. Then if she doesn't give them up, tell her you will sue. Then do it. Totally sue. They know they're wrong and trying to ask you for permission to feel better. Sue. Your sister stole too much from your life. Record your conversation for court proceedings if needed. Can't really sue. There was no will, just OP's word. But I do agree with A, getting out ASAP, and B, getting the earrings and hiding them somewhere safe. She should record a phone call with her parents in which she asks them repeatedly how they would feel if something their own grandmothers left to them was usurped to give to someone else, while reminding them a few times that they made a promise to grandmother to give them to OP. Now for the update 5 months later. Yes, I got the earrings. After my post, I went to my parents' house, opened a safe, took the earrings and left. Then after that I went again, told my parents I need time to process stuff and be my own self and gave their house keys. Said I was leaving for good. There were some tears from my mom saying she couldn't believe I was such a bitter person. She raised me better. I was turning my back to my family over nothing. And finally, that it was shameful that I would leave the family house without being married or anything. So it was never about me or her loving me or anything, but social pressure to keep an outdated tradition. My dad was very neutral, gave me a hug and wished me luck. For 2 months nothing happened, and I barely have contact with my family. Found a place to live, tried to heal. Have real fun decorating my new home. Your normal stuff. And then everything happened at once. For those 2 months, my sister and mom never reached out to me. Only my dad sent a text once a week asking how I was and wishing I was doing well. And then my sister's boyfriend / future husband / my ex started to follow me on Instagram again. I found it weird, but anyway, after all, he's my sister's boyfriend / father of my niece / future brother-in-law / my ex with benefits. Then he started to like my stories, and then replying to them with heart emojis and looking good. This happened 3 times maybe, when I received a voicemail from my mom, calling all sorts of names for going after a man that I knew was engaged. That this was some kind of revenge over my poor sister. That I was causing her so much stress, her blood pressure level was to the moon. That I was an inconsiderate femme fatale, and that she raised me better. Later I learned through a cousin that my sister took her fiancé's phone and found several conversations with several women, including his attempt to talk to me. So, of course, she went to my mom crying about me trying to steal her fiancé. All messy, to be honest. Less than a week later, another voicemail from my mom asking me where the heck were the earrings. She went looking for them, and when she couldn't find them, deduced it was me. She called me a thief, a disgrace, dishonored me and said they didn't consider me family anymore. I was dead to them, and she will be taking legal actions against me for theft if it was possible. I had no option but to block her and my sister and other family members who sided with them. My dad later texted me to let me know my mom went nuts, but they won't take any legal action. By the end of last month, my cousin texted me saying my sister had given birth to my niece. I know I shouldn't, but I did it. Went to the hospital with a gift while wearing my beautiful and fancy earrings. I was kicked out, of course, but it was worth it. I have no plans to see them ever again. Well, maybe my dad. Also, my cousin, big gossiper that girl, let me know my sister is getting married in May, so she will have her happy ever after all. But I'm also living my best life right now. They are toxic. But legal action for earrings that were yours? I think I mentioned this before, but there wasn't a will. My grandma left it to my parents in good faith until I was old enough. So it was easy to say I stole them. I don't know if it was possible or if they had any legal ground. I know you think your sister may have won in a way by marrying your ex-boyfriend, but know that she's made a mistake of her life. That man has been running around on her this entire time. I guarantee you, and he will never stop doing it. Your sister will spend this entire marriage worrying about him cheating because she will constantly see the signs. OP, you dodged a bullet. Don't think your sister will get her happy ending. If her husband isn't already cheating on her, it's only a matter of time. Glad you got the earrings back. If possible, maybe try and get it in writing from your dad that they acknowledge that your grandma said you were to have the earrings. Maybe to the effect of, I'm glad to hear that you will not be taking legal action, but why did mom want to in the first place? And what has changed her mind? Just thinking, then you might have some evidence of your grandma's wishes to show if you ever did have a legal issue. Also, I sort of empathize. My grandma passed just over a year ago now, and since I was 14, we would have chats about her jewelry and ornaments, as I would clean them and dust them for her. She said to me a few times, "Right then, my name, tell me which of this you want when I die." Very direct woman she was, and I always loved her eternity ring, as it was of course a very sentimental item. One of our last conversations about it was when she was 101 or 102, and we again talked about what I would like, and she again said she would talk to my mom about it and make sure I got it. Of course, her will didn't mention division of assets, just that everything was to go to my mom, her daughter. So when I asked my mom about the ring Grandma had promised me, my mom said that she hadn't been told to give anything to anyone specifically, and my sister had been over and seen the ring, and she really loved it. Cue about 5 months of my mother refusing to give anything of Grandma's to anyone because she didn't want to pick sides and cause an argument. Red, she favors my sister and didn't want to upset her. Finally, my sister came over and we talked about it. I said my piece about all the times I had spoken to Grandma about it and what Grandma had said. Happier ending than yours, as my sister did say I could have the ring, but the feeling of not being believed and Grandma's promise just being dismissed by my mom was awful. Plus, I felt I was seen as being greedy and materialistic because it is a very valuable piece of jewelry, but when I was younger, I didn't know that. I just loved it as it was what my grandma was given for having my mom and loved the history behind it. I'm glad things ended well between both of you and you got the ring. I also questioned if I was being just greedy and shallow for fighting for it, but it's the meaning behind it what makes it so special. Last story. I found out my daughter is sleeping with my friend who she's known since she was 7. I, 43 female, have a daughter, 22 female, who I'll call Liv. My good friend, who I'll call Adam, 42 male, has known my daughter since she was 7 years old. He would even babysit her for me and my husband, Steven, 46 male. My husband is as disgusted and outraged just as much as I am. I found out 3 weeks ago when my daughter hosted a party to celebrate her birthday. She said she wanted to do one day with her friends and then the next with her family. She even took it upon herself to invite Adam, which confused me because I didn't give her his contact info. I noticed they were awfully close with each other and it even made me uncomfortable. The final straw was when I saw him caress the back of her shoulder, and then I confronted her in private about this. She said that her and Adam had been seeing each other for about 6 months now. I was extremely angry and reminded her that she has known this man since she was a child. She further went on to say she was an adult and could make her own decisions. I stormed out and I cussed out Adam for even thinking this was alright. He fired back saying that she was capable of deciding what she wants. My husband got into the argument, almost causing a fight to break out. My husband and I left feeling ashamed of what had happened. It's now been 3 weeks and my daughter is still refusing to speak to me. I will not forgive Adam because I feel as if I don't truly know how long they have been messing around. For all I know, she may have lied about the 6 months and they could have had this going on since she was underage. The thought of it makes my stomach turn because if it is true, why didn't I notice? Everything was fine before I found this out, and my daughter was a very well-behaved child. I wouldn't have never imagined this. I feel as if I am a bad mother, because what if there were signs she and him were involved while she was still a teenager? I do not know what to do and how to move forward from this. Now for the advice. Oh man, this exact situation happened with my friend's older sister. She started dating her dad's best friend at 21. It was always a touchy thing in their family. Are they still together? No, not anymore, but they were together for years and even got married. It's always sad that the younger girl can't see that the way the older man is treating her is not love. He is willing to destroy her family life and isolate her, is willing to date a 22-year-old at 42 to great disrespect towards her husband being a family friend and not even asking. These are signs of a manipulative person who is seeking to rip her away and take advantage of a vulnerable person with less life experience. Men like him are sneaky, so try not to blame yourself for not seeing. At 22, there's nothing you can do, but try to tell her your wisdom if she'll listen and try to be understanding through it, so she feels comfortable to run to you when he starts to abuse her. Show her my comments on my profile so she can see evil people are out there to hurt others. It was hard for me to believe it until my 30s. I'm not sure myself how long the relationship has been going on, or how he treats her in the relationship. Adam was a really good friend before all this happened, and I never imagined this being a possible outcome. I'm going to take everyone's advice, and I'm going to try to initiate a conversation between my daughter and I. She is a grown adult, and I could have handled the situation in a better way. I will still refuse to speak to Adam because it's clear his moral compass is lost. But for those who tell me to mind my business, it's hard to mind my business when my child is involved with someone 20 years older than her and someone I know personally. I will try to keep an open mind and follow everyone's advice. Thank you. Even though this is a hideous situation, I've been that daughter. And what's really important is that she knows that you're not going to turn your back on her when it falls apart. It will hit her eventually. And even if she doesn't feel like you support her, she needs to know that you're not going to say, "I told you so," or make her feel like it's her fault. She needs to hear that you will always help her if she needs it for any reason. Don't make it specific to this, and that you'll never stop loving her. I know we aren't seeing eye to eye on what's happening right now, but no matter what you choose to do or what happens between us, I need you to know that I love you. And if at any time in your life you need someone, you can always call me day or night, and I'll be there for you. No questions asked. For those replying that it's daughter's fault and she deserves whatever consequences come to her as an adult, look at all of the replies from people who stayed in abusive relationships because they couldn't go to their parents for help. However OP may feel about this, and she's within her right to feel embarrassed or ashamed or whatever, this message is a matter of safety and well-being. You don't want your child to feel like they can't come to you when they need help. Update. What my 37 male wife 37 female did during our separation makes me want to make it permanent. Original post. My wife and I have been married for 6 years. We have no children. Last July, tensions were high between us. I'm an essential worker. I work the night shift and sleep during the day while she's at work. She was working from home due to COVID and was very loud. This kept waking me up and making me a very crabby person. So I was admittedly very short with her, and she was not accommodating to me at all. As a result, the time we did have together was very tense between us. It's normally a very happy time, but we weren't able to enjoy it at all. We made a decision to do a trial separation, both go to therapy separately and try couples therapy after a few months. As my company was frontline, they offered to put us up in a hotel so as not to risk our families. So I took advantage of this and moved out. I asked my wife for ground rules. My exact wording was, "So that I understand this, are we seeing other people during this time?" She angrily replied, "If that's the first place your mind goes, then maybe it's not even worth it. I want to save our marriage. I'll give you an opportunity to go screw around." I apologized and assured her that I only wanted to understand where we stood. So over the past year, I've been in therapy. I talked to my boss and got my shift at work changed to day shift because I realized that the night shift was really taking a toll on my mental health. I've learned to be firm, but open and communicative and not bottle things up. I honestly feel so much better about myself as a person. My wife and I started couples counseling at the beginning of this year, and it's been really great for us. We both were open about what was wrong, both recognized the faults that we had, and both committed to wanting to make things better. We made a decision for me to move back in next month and bring the separation to an end. During our most recent session, our counselor asked if I had completely broken off any relationships that I had during our separation. I replied I didn't have any relationships during our separation. We established ground rules that this wasn't about having fun with other people. It was about getting better for our relationship to survive. Then my wife replied, "We never established that as a ground rule." I quoted her words back to her, and she responded, "Well, I was letting you know that that should be your main focus. I mean, if you were just going to go fool around with random women and not try to improve yourself, then there was no point in trying to save things." I responded, "So you were using weasel words to have things both ways. Did you date anyone?" She unashamedly stated that she had slept with 7 men during the past year, that it was perfectly allowed, and I was free to be with someone else if I so choose. She stated that if I didn't want that, I should have clearly stated it. I countered that when I tried to broach it, but she got angry and shut the subject down, and now she was trying to rewrite history. I told her at this point, I need to think if I want to move in again or even try anymore, because it's clear that she treated last year as a free pass to sleep around on me. She says that I need to grow up and get over it. I responded, "See, that's where you're wrong. I don't need to do either of those things. I just need to get over you, and after today, I feel like that's going to be the easier thing to do." She insists that I'm in the wrong on this, and that when you're separated, it's completely understood that you're free to see other people. Honestly, this behavior, the weasel words, deliberately ambiguous statements, and constant deflection are the things that triggered me to blow up at her in the past. And the fact that it's still happening is just leading me to feel like I need to file for divorce and walk away. Am I making too much of this? I feel like I've made so much progress in therapy, and I know she has too. But I just feel disgusted every time I look at her. I feel like she cheated on me, and I get so angry. I don't know if there's any way to move forward with her. She keeps saying she did everything right, and I need to stop trying to punish her because I didn't explore while I could. Would I be the worst person in the world for filing for divorce at this point? I feel like I'm too close to this situation and can't think straight. What the hell do I even do at this point? I've been working for a year to fix my marriage, and I thought she was too. Now I feel like we've been working on opposing teams. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Divorce and move on. No trust, and that will eat you alive. It causes you to be paranoid 24/7, and you'll think you're insane and crazy when you are not. Second that, be smart and careful of the manipulation going forward. My husband's ex and he split up, and she moved another guy in the day he left. After a few weeks, they had a chat about bills, etc. And she told him if he wanted to try again, he wouldn't have a chance if he slept with anyone else while they were apart. She was living with someone else. How does that work in anyone's mind? He quite rightly walked away and didn't look back. We met over a year later, and when we got engaged, she texted him saying it proved he never really loved her. They were together for 10 years, and he wasn't the one who cheated. She was so delusional she thought he would hang around single waiting for her to crook her fingers. And by this time, she was married with a baby, but still thought of him as a backup. He wanted no contact as they had no children and didn't have anything to link them. She tried to be besties with my stepdaughter and even complained to me that my stepdaughter didn't want to hang out and she felt cut off. I spoke to my stepdaughter as this woman was in her life for a long time and that if she wanted to hang out, I would understand. She told me the ex wasn't very nice to her and played mind games, and the last thing she wanted was this woman to be in her life. All contact was cut off there and then. If you ask the ex, I'm sure she'd tell you I'm the evil other woman who got between her and her man. I didn't even meet him until they'd been over for more than a year. She spoiled both relationships herself, but still won't have it that she's not a victim in this. She definitely cheated. She got upset at you for bringing up sleeping with other people. So she wanted commitment during the separation, and she cheated on you during that commitment. Just move on and be happier. She obviously will only bring you misery. She definitely cheated. 7 times. 7! No, 7 dudes. 7 isn't even the number of times she slept with each dude. Update. I've gotten a few requests for updates, and as much as I'm embarrassed over this whole thing, I think it helps to get it out. We are getting divorced. Shortly after the big revelation, our counselor asked to speak to me one-on-one. She told me, "You need to walk away for your own health. You've made so much progress and so many positive changes. This won't work unless you're both trying, and Tina is not trying. This can't be all on you because she will keep dragging you back down." My counselor told me that she was crossing a line by telling me what to do, but she literally could not sleep after finishing up our session and seeing the look in my face. When I thought about it, she's right. I've been using this time to become a better, more rounded person, while my wife has been using it as a free pass to act like a teenager and has kept up the deceitful gaslighting behaviors that plagued our marriage for far too long. When I told my wife it was over, she broke down sobbing. She begged me not to leave, told me that I could have a free pass to go do what I wanted to get even, and swore that if I had been clear, she never would have touched another man. I have to admit, I felt myself wanting to say yes, because for a second she was the woman I fell in love with again. But it was just a second that I knew would end, and we'd be back to walking in eggshells and playing head games soon enough. I told her that we both deserved better than the people we had been to each other, and the fact that she thought I wanted revenge and still blamed me for her actions told me that she hadn't learned to be better. She told me she'd do anything to make it work, and asked what I wanted to see from her. I told her that I had seen everything I needed from her, and if she could only be better when divorce became a reality, then she had not made the progress I believed she had before that session. I served her with papers that I'm moving forward with a divorce. She's asked me to please resume counseling sessions, but I've refused. I know it's the right decision, but I feel very conflicted. There's something inside me that feels like I'm doing wrong, even though I know it's the only way I'll eventually be happy. I just read the first post. Not gonna lie, when she tried to twist what the rules of the separation were after the fact, it had my blood boiling. I'm glad you have seen the light, and trying to save the marriage was a fool's endeavor. Good luck moving forward. I know, right? I read the first post and was absolutely blown away by how crappy of a person she is. Not gonna lie, when she tried to twist what the rules of the separation were after the fact, it had my blood boiling. Not only that, but admitting she slept with 7 different people during a pandemic. Clearly a raging narcissist, reinforced by the fact that the remorse only came when Opie told her he wanted a divorce. She didn't think she could possibly be in the wrong at any point, up until she had to face direct consequences for her actions. Your counselor is a true MVP. Never saw that coming. Also, she begged me not to leave, told me that I could have a free pass to go do what I wanted to get even, and swore that if I'd been clear, she never would have touched another man. Even at that point, she couldn't admit she was wrong, and tried to blame it on you again. Your counselor was right. Your ex is a terrible person. I mean, she even said herself that the separation was to work on saving the marriage and not to see other people. It doesn't matter how she tries to frame it after the fact, because I take her actions during the separation, which she still takes no accountability for, as her not having any interest in saving the marriage. Only my opinion, but I believe until death do we part. And I hope it works that way for you. Just read your first post and I was disgusted by your ex-wife's behavior. I can't imagine actually living through that situation. I know it must be tough, but you're doing the best thing for yourself, and you should take some pride in making that kind of hard decision. Now for the last story. Wife of 8 years acting erratically. Wants to end marriage but won't because she isn't financially independent. My 34 male wife, 30 female works previously, but has been a stay-at-home mother to our 5-year-old for the last 5 years. We own a house and I have worked 50 to 60 hours a week to provide everything we need in my income alone. Our marriage has been great. Sure, we have had our fights, but nothing that wasn't reconciled basically immediately. 2 weeks ago, the neighbor directly across the street whom we've never really met asked my wife if she could drop off and pick up her granddaughter from school. Same school as my daughter goes to. Because her and her son, 28 male, that lives with her are having a hard time adjusting their schedules to do it themselves. My wife agrees to do it, and this nightmare begins. After a week, my wife has spent some time talking to the grandmother and child and finds out the kid is in a pretty bad situation. Her dad comes and goes as it pleases. Her mom is rarely around, so the grandmother basically raises her. I've never met her dad, but from my home I've witnessed him screaming at the kid and his mom in their driveway/lawn. I watched as he threw all the kid's mother's belongings on the lawn at 3 a.m. Disrupts the neighborhood with loud music from his car whenever it comes and goes at all hours. Drives erratically. I just don't get the sense he's an outstanding citizen. His mother also tells my wife he battles with depression and anxiety, which is the reason for his outbursts. Anyway, my wife tells me that she feels bad for the kid and doesn't mind watching her to get her away from the drama at home, and I agree. One night, my wife walks the girl over to her dad when he gets home and comes back to tell me the guy was yelling and berating both of them for reasons she didn't know. This past Tuesday, I get home from work at around 5 p.m. My wife says she's taking our daughter and the neighbor kid to get their nails done. 2 hours later, I haven't heard from her, so I call and get no answer. This goes on for around 30 minutes, then she texts me and says she's meeting the girl's dad at the mall to give him his daughter. Because of him being aggressive toward them a couple days before, this gets me concerned, so I try and call again but get no answer. The mall isn't far, so I ride over to see if I spot them and they are not there. I drive around a little and spot my wife's vehicle in a different parking lot. I park and walk up, it's just her and our daughter inside. I get a deer and headlights look, and she immediately starts saying she's not happy and she's done with our marriage. She admits she had been walking around the mall with the girl's father talking. I get her to drive back home and things go further off the rails. She is flipping out, telling me I overreacted, and there was no reason to come find her. I tried to explain I was concerned because the guy was talking crazy to her in the past and supposedly struggles with mental health issues. And she tells me he never yelled at her the night she said he did. She told me that to throw me off and lead me to believe she wouldn't be around him. She eventually says she's going over to their house because she doesn't want to be near me and leaves my daughter and I at home. By this time, it was around 10 p.m. She never came back home until 5 a.m. The next few days are very strange. Wednesday started with everything calm and normal. But by that evening, she's telling me I'm not welcome at her family's Thanksgiving dinner, and she goes back to their house that evening for a couple hours. The time she does spend at home, she's on her phone texting him constantly and gets very defensive if I mention anything about the situation. Thanksgiving morning, everything is calm again, and end up going to dinner with the family and the day is as normal as ever. Friday, we get up and go shopping for a while and have a great morning. On the way home, she says she's going out with a lady and her son that night. I push back, questioning why and explain how confused and hurt I am, and she basically doesn't want to hear it. So that night I take my daughter to see a movie and to hang out with some friends and their kids afterward. Get home around 9, and my wife is home already, acting as if everything is normal. Saturday goes smooth, then in the evening, completely out of the blue, she tells me she wants me to stay somewhere else that night or she's leaving. Like an idiot, I tell her I will go, because deep down I don't want to send her out into the night going who knows where. She tells me to take our daughter with me. So I get a hotel room and try to play it up to my daughter as we are just having a fun night staying in a hotel, eating snacks and watching movies. When I got home Sunday morning, I sent our daughter to church with my mother-in-law, and we sat down to talk. She says she has felt unappreciated for a long time and has put her life on hold to raise our daughter. She is tired of it and wants to have fun and would leave if she had any income or a place to go, but can't go anywhere because she will have nothing. I tell her I love her more than anything, and I'm willing to do whatever I need to salvage what we have if it is at all possible. She says she doesn't know what she wants. She might just be going through a phase. I offer up the suggestions that from now on, no one is forced to leave the house. Our daughter's sense of normalcy and home is prioritized, and I will stay on a different level of the house to give her space and privacy for the time being. She asks me if I'm willing to continue handling the finances the way we always have. We have a joint account, and she takes care of paying the bills. As far as the people across the street, she says there are new interesting people she's getting to know, who also have an interest in her and she enjoys their company. Apparently, the first night she went over, she painted me as some raving lunatic husband who was ready to turn the town upside down to find his wife, and they have no desire to meet me because of this. She tells me she doesn't have feelings for the dad. Last night, after our daughter went to bed, she went back across the street. I had to return to work from holiday this morning, so she texted me saying to let her know when I was leaving and she would come back over, which she did. This is all so uncharacteristic of her, and I'm baffled by how in a span of 5 days, my life has turned completely inside out. I want to work on our marriage and I'm willing to give her space to think. But it is destroying me inside to stay in a home with a woman who out of the blue wants to leave, but won't because she is not financially independent. Should I give her time to think and continue to pay for everything? I feel cast away to my basement and can't even look out the front window without seeing the home she would rather be at than our own. It also seems like she no longer cares to have our daughter. She has always been a great mother, but acts annoyed by everything all of a sudden. I just don't know what to do about any of this. I don't want to do anything to push her further away, but am I supposed to continue to eat crap and swallow politely so she can live out this new scenario? It hurts so bad. I want to hang in there, but it's like the moment my nerves settle, something crazy happens. I'm open to any advice I can get. I feel like I can't go to any of our friends or family because I'd rather keep it quiet for now, and it's hard to carry this around on my own. Could she be on some substance? This seems really extreme. That or she's cheating. I don't know why else should go on extended visits with the abusive dad, staying over at his house, hiding things from Opie. It sounds like substance use or an affair. For sure. Could definitely be an affair or both. The reason I thought these is because the abusive dad's behavior sounds like the behavior of someone out of their gourd on it. You need advice from an actual lawyer where you live. Don't leave the house anymore. It can look bad for you down the line. This behavior is very concerning, and it does not seem like she plans to stop. I am no doctor, but people have gone insane in the pandemic. A lot less going on, especially for stay-at-home parents, I would believe. She may have been sliding off the rails slowly and then something exciting happens and trigger her. Now we do a good search of the house and electronics to look for substances, evidence of cheating or anything that can explain this. Again, talk with a lawyer. Maybe separation can be good, but make sure you do it by the book and not in a way that can make you lose custody. Right now you have an unstable partner at your hands. She's not well mentally, but she understands very well that she's in a horrible spot financially. I'm not saying she will pull some shady and or illegal crap, but she has motivation to do so. A lawyer can help you minimize the chance for her to do that. It is not really about your relationship, but to protect your child. Anything can happen at this point, so set up extra protection on your accounts and electronics. Secure irreplaceable items, important documents, etc. Thank you for the advice. I'll be seeking out soon. The hardest/most confusing part for me is how hot and cold she is. It's like she wants to act as if everything is normal. Communicate respectfully, try and make me feel better, but as soon as her phone goes off and she starts talking to him or his mom, it all goes up and she doesn't want anything to do with me. Am I the a-hole dad gave the business to brother so I left? With updates. Original story. My older brother, 30 male, went to university and then worked in the city as an accountant. I, 27 male, started to work for my dad as a plumber at 15 and went to college to get my qualifications in plumbing and gas. About the time COVID started, my brother moved back from the city and started working for my dad, 55 male, in accounting. My dad has been unwell for the last 4 years due to asbestosis. It has been really hard on the family and he is getting worse, but is still living life. I have been running the business for the last 2 years. We have expanded and now have 50 vans in the fleet, and 1 qualified and 1 trainee allocated to each van. Pandemic was hard in the beginning, but we have bounced back. My dad still works on tools with me on Fridays, half day, then back to my place for some beers. Friday is the only day I'm on tools now as I'm doing everything to run the business. Well, last month he told the family he's stepping down from the business due to health and wants to spend more time with my mother and is giving the business to my brother and for me to step down from acting CEO. This upsets me. I've been with the business for 12 years. At the beginning, it was only me and my dad. My brother never wanted to be in the business and said it was not worth his time. And now he's the boss. And I've been dumped back to a heating engineer with £20,000 pay cut. Doesn't even have any clue what we do or how to do it. I spoke to my dad and he told me that my brother deserves it for all he has done, that he has a family and I don't, and that he went to uni. A lot of the workers are upset about the decision and have told me they will go where I go. I told my dad that if that is how he feels, then I will leave and start my own business. I have not spoken to my dad or brother since, and I have told them to never contact me. For the last month, I've had thousands of calls and messages from family saying some very hurtful things and telling me I'm ungrateful for what I have. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I want to say thank you to everyone for your kind words. There's so many to reply to, and I will do my best to thank you all. To hear my father tell me in his own way he doesn't think I'm good enough was hard, and for my family to take his and my brother's side was even harder. In the morning, I will contact the large clients I've worked with over the last 6 years. I know we had some site postponed due to the bug, big money, and we'll try to take them over. I have 20 of my colleagues wishing to come work for me. I've saved nearly all of my money I have earned over the last 12 years, so I think I have enough to get myself on my feet. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not today, Hull. I am so sorry. Hopefully your new business is successful. Thanks, but feel bad for taking business away from family. You shouldn't. They took the business away from family, not just from you, but from all the loyal employees who don't want to work with an inexperienced CEO. Not Dayhall. Not Dayhall at all. At least your father could have split business 50-50. Brother in charge of accounting side, you in charge of production. I would make that offer back. If father refuses, I would cut contact and block relatives. I would go start my own business and never look back. Brother turned back on family business while you worked yourself off to build it. To be honest, that's what I thought was going to happen, and was happy when my brother came back to be one big family company. I talked to my father, but my brother has always been the golden child. Not today, Hall at all. Not only did you get screwed out of a business that should have at least been split between you, you got a huge pay cut to go with it. The fact that your father allowed that to happen shows how he feels about you versus your brother. I am sorry, but I hope you run your brother out of business. Thank you. The hardest part is that my brother signed off on the pay cut. I was still on a very good wage, but that was the last dagger to the heart. I always thought my father would split the business between us, not leave me on the sideline after everything I did for it. Now for the first update. I want to inform everyone that I'm not starting a business to destroy my brother. As much as I want to, I've spent almost 13 years building it, and I don't want to see anyone out of a job or for the business to die. It's about 5 a.m. in England. You have all helped me so much. I will be going over to talk to my father about 8 a.m. and take him out for breakfast and talk. I'm not sure if I will get a proper answer from him, but I love my family and want my future kids to know them. I will update after the events of later today. Second update. As I said in one of the comments, I believe my family had found my post, and they did. This morning, when I arrived at my parents' house, my mom opened the door and looked like she had been crying a lot. My dad came over to talk to me and we went out for breakfast. He didn't say a word on the way there when we arrived. When on the way back, he asked if we could pull over and talk. I can honestly say this was the first time I saw my dad cry. I asked why he did this to me. He said doesn't know. I kept pushing, and he finally told me he owed it to my brother for not being about for him as much as me when we were growing up, and there were times my brother needed him, but we were working. I couldn't believe it. After 12 years of hard work, that was his reasoning? I told my father I had spent half my life working to do everything for the business, and how he threw me to the side just because his son came back hurts me more than I could explain. He told me he knows, as they had been shown the post I put up. To my surprise, he wasn't mad, but he seemed remorseful. He told me my mother has been in pieces after reading the comments about how bad she treated me, and thinks I will never talk to them again. My dad told me after reading it all, he realized he should have split the business between us, as it will need both of us to keep progressing, and apologized for me for never telling me how proud he was of everything I had done, and thought I know how proud he was. But my brother has full control, and my father has no say anymore, and my brother would never go 50-50. He told me he wants me to go back as my brother will need me. I told him that's not my problem anymore. After he demoted me and cut my pay, I tried to make it work for 3 weeks, but my brother wouldn't listen. Didn't believe I know what I was talking about, telling me he knows how to run a business. So I left. Why work my butt off there when I could do the same work and make more money for myself? My dad broke down, said that he had destroyed a family and should never have done what he did. I don't understand why it took this long to realize I was a valuable piece in the company. Third update. As I said, I have had a couple of Zoom calls with some clients today, and they have gone very well. I have been informed that they will all be sending signed proposal letters for the up-and-coming work. Lucky the site start dates don't clash. That was one of the main things I was worried about. 3 of my colleagues have now left the business and have spoken to my dad informing him about why they left, and that they will be coming to work with me of their own choice. To hear them tell me this meant a lot. They have all between 5 to 10 years more experience in the industry. At the moment, we have all we need to start a new business with the 3 vans I own and tools I have built up over the years. I am looking forward to the new venture in my life and can't wait to share this with my children when I have them. Then I received a call from my father asking me to come over for dinner. I was unsure at first, but thought it was probably a step in the right direction. Upon arrival, my whole family was there. I went in and the atmosphere dropped. My mom wouldn't look at me, and my brother just sat there acting as if I didn't exist. My dad came to ask me and my brother to come into his office. He started to ask when I was going to return to the company, as they need me in early Monday morning. I could not even believe what I was hearing. I told them both I'm not coming back and have started my own business. And what does he mean we? You gave the business to him, my brother. My brother started to lose his temper, telling me if I cared about the company, why would I leave? I have some very choice words, before telling him that I have always cared for the company and spent 12 years of my life working to make it successful. Like him who swans in and takes all the glory, and that I will not sit there and be treated like that. I told my brother to buzz off, so I could talk to Dad. I asked what was this morning all about, telling me sorry but then expects me to go running back? He couldn't even look me in the eye, so I left, said goodbye to my cousin, nieces, and nephews and walked out. I've been riding for about 3 hours on and off coming back on here to talk to people. I just want to say thank you to everyone for the personal message, comments, rewards, and all the kind words and encouragement. I'll try and message everyone, but I'm exhausted and will most likely fall asleep. 4th update. Sorry it's been a while. I've had a lot going on in the last couple of weeks, so I'll try to explain the most I can. So the new business is going very well. We have a lot of work coming in and making good money. At the end of the year, I will be looking at expanding, so very happy with that. Me and my fiancé are very happy. She's very busy planning the wedding of her dreams. She wants me to wear a suit, but tough luck, I'll be in my kilt. I couldn't be happier that I'm right now waking up to her every day. She's there for me no matter what. It has been my rock through everything. Then my family. My father and brother still refuse to talk to me, and have told me they will not be attending the wedding, even though they haven't been invited. My mother has called my fiancé but hasn't said much, only to ask about wedding stuff and will not talk to me. My fiancé's family have been amazing. My soon-to-be-in-laws have been helping with the wedding and everything else, and I'm extremely thankful for everything they have done for us. My other family have now backed off and apologized and want to make amends for everything that was said. Myself and my fiancé are set to have our wedding in November. We sat down together and have decided to try to have children after we are married. We are both excited to be parents. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not splitting the control of my business to my children equally? Hi, 65-year-old electrician from Germany here. I plan to settle down, traveling with my wife, 65, and spoiling our grandchildren for the rest of our lives. I had built up a small business with now 23 employees. My son Alexander, 36, will take control of it. I have also 2 daughters in which I'm proud of. Laura, 34, has studied biochemistry and has her master's degree. Marie, 30, became a middle school teacher in mathematics and sports. I've recently spoken about my plan at the family gathering. Laura totally agreed to it, but Marie accused me of favoritism. That is not true. I love every one of my children equally, but my son decided to make a training on my side as he graduated. Abitur similar to high school. Additionally, he got a master's license as electrician. So we worked nearly 17 years together. Also, he has the ability to run our business and our employees respect him. I told my daughter the points above, but she said I was always closer to my son as to my daughters. Sadly, I have to admit it is kind of true. But how isn't it possible if I work all day together with my son? He's also my colleague and my right hand at work. My wife Laura and Alexander signed with me, so I need an outside opinion in here. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Edited to Ed. Many of you ask, and here are some answers. Alexander will become the owner. I will be totally out of it. As he started to work with me, we were only 6 people, and as he got his master's license, he trained 7 of our employees. We Germans say he was passionate about it, and he sacrificed a lot. My daughters were offered to work with me and earn money in school holidays on my side, but as they graduated, they had their own career plans which my wife and I have supported, financially and emotionally. Our editor sent a link to another story which I have read, and now I'm pretty sure I can leave the business only to my son. I am thankful for your replies, and I had read almost every one of them. I just think about it if I should benefit my daughters on my will in exchange. Now for the top comments. Not Dayhall. You are giving your electrician business to the electrician who has worked there for 17 years. Your employees would think you are the a-hole if you handed control over to someone with no experience other than being related. Reminds me of that AITA firm a few weeks back, where daddy gave the business to the son he didn't work with and destroyed the family, but in reverse. Hard work should be rewarded. Not Dayhole. Your son has invested his time and energy in the business and helped you make it a success, no doubt. And all of your reasons are also correct. By leaving the business to your son, you're also trying to ensure that the workers and their families also have a long-term future with the business, as your son is best placed to keep the company running successfully. Also, it's your business and your money, and therefore you're right to leave it to whoever you want to. Good luck. German law might disagree in the last part. I hope you should definitely check with a lawyer because there can be certain costs to compensate his other kids when he gives the company to only one child. Not Dayhall. That's just sensible business. Marie likely doesn't have much experience in this industry or in running a business. Your son is most qualified and knows the ins and outs after working with you for 17 years. It sounds like Marie's more bitter about Alexander's close relationship with you rather than the handover of the business. Marie could have chosen to be an electrician. Both of them could have. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not splitting my inheritance so my cousins and I can have an equal amount? Basically what the title says. My paternal grandma died when I, 20 female, was 3 and my cousins Connor, 24 male, and Olivia, 20 female, were 7 and 4 respectively. In her will, my grandmother left all her money to us grandchildren. Obviously, she didn't know how many children my dad and uncle would end up having, so her will stated that half her money would be split evenly between my uncle's children, and the other half would be split evenly between my dad's children. I'm an only child, so I don't have to split the money with siblings. We get access to the money in our 21st birthday, so Connor has already had his. Olivia's birthday is next month, and mine is in 7 months. My uncle, Connor, and Olivia think that it's unfair that I'm getting more money than they are. When I was 17 and Connor was turning 21, they asked my parents to split my share of the money so we would all get 33%. My parents said no because it wasn't their money, and that I should be the only one who gets to decide what to do with the money after I get access to it. Since then, they've brought it up a couple of times a year, but as it's getting closer to Olivia's birthday, they've started bringing it up more often. They've even roped in members of our extended family to harass me about it through emails and texts. They say that I'm being selfish but not splitting the money evenly with them, and that it's unfair for me to get more money. They also like to bring up the fact that my parents have jobs with higher salaries than their parents, and being an only child meant that I got more stuff growing up. Which I admit is partially true. I went to private school, I did a lot of extracurriculars, went on holiday abroad at least once a year. At the same time, I didn't get everything that I asked for growing up. And my parents refused to buy me a car when I was 17. I had to buy my own car, whereas their parents did buy them a car. My dad's aunt also constantly told my uncle that my dad was the favorite child, which has left my uncle with a chip on his shoulder, and is using me getting more money to support that idea. I don't want to split the money because it's my money. The money was left to the children of my dad, and it's not my fault that my parents only had me. My parents also taught me how to manage my money, so I plan to put most of the money from my grandma in a lifetime ISA. Use some of it to go traveling after university before starting work, a weekend trip to New York for me and my friends for my 21st birthday, and to invest the rest. So it's not like I'm planning on blowing it all in one go. Also, Connor and Olivia's share is still a lot of money each. It's more than most people inherit, and more money than most people have access to in their early 20s. Also, Connor has already blown through most of his money in the last 3 years on partying, traveling in cars, so I don't see why I should have to sacrifice some of my inheritance to make up for the fact that he's wasted most of his. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. Seeing as I've been sent messages about it, I thought I'd let everyone know that my grandma did not exclude my dad and uncle. She only left the money that was in her various bank accounts to the grandchildren. The rest of her assets, such as property, jewelry, her art collection, investment portfolio, etc., was left to them. I've been asked how much money there is in total. I don't really feel comfortable saying the exact amount, but it's safe to say that even the 25% share is fractions of £1 million. Not Dayhall. Your uncle and cousin are being entitled. Your grandmother divided her assets as she wished, and no one has the right to question it. This. You are following her will. What would have happened if you had 4 siblings? Do you honestly think they would split their money? Not Dayhall. Not Dayhall. Not unfair at all. Your grandma split it up fairly between her children's children. When they tell you that you're being selfish, fire back with, you're being greedy. You have no legal claim to my inheritance. If they want more money, they can go earn it. Many people go through life never receiving any kind of inheritance. You don't have to justify yourself here. You're honoring your grandma's wishes exactly as her will was laid out. Anyone who has a problem with it can go complain about it at her grave. Not Dayhall. This is a fair but not equal situation. Your grandmother was very fair by splitting 50-50 to each side of her 2 sons' descendants. The situation between the cousins isn't equal for obvious reasons. Don't give them any money because if the roles were reversed, they wouldn't give you a dime extra. My gran actually did this. She left most of her money to my uncles, but had a clause that said that if they had died, then the money would go to their kids instead. One uncle only had 1 child, the other one had 2. So essentially, if one of my uncles had died, it would have been 25-25-50. The kids are looking at it as though they are entitled to the entire pot, but actually they're entitled to their share of 50% of it.